Okay, greetings. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. My name is Oladele Josumu. I'm the founder of the Imaginal Kevlin. And for those who subscribe to our channel, those who watch me on LinkedIn, you know what we do here. We're about awakening their consciousness and, decolonizing our minds. That's what we do on this platform. Because a lot of us, I said it last time I spoke, we've suffered from the cognitive dissonance of seeing the truth and not wanting to awaken to it. So that's basically what we do. I'll let my guest introduce himself and then we'll talk about the topic. Dr. Patrick, if you want to introduce yourself to our global audience, please.
Good morning. Greetings, Mr. Dosumu, and to your audience. Dr. Patrick Ijewere, born and raised here in Lagos. After secondary school, my parents shipped me off to the US for university.
Ooh.
Spent almost 30 years there, qualified as a chemist, a bachelor's degree, then a pharmacist, another bachelor's degree, moved on to medical school at Howard University, finished there and did a specialty training in internal medicine. I'm in Baltimore, Johns Hopkins, finished that and then moved down to Florida. While I was down there, went back and did another curriculum of an executive MBA. Moved back home almost 15 years ago, actually, yeah, just about 2008 to now, yes. And practice here in Lagos, Nigeria. In spite of all the challenges, we love this place. We love this place.
Home is home.
So I practiced as a holistic wellness practitioner, which is a deviation from my formal training at Johns Hopkins and Howard as an internal medicine physician. And that occurred purely as I evolved in the profession. I saw a lot of the gaps, huge gaps and valleys that conventional medicine, allopathic medicine, just wasn't addressing and hasn't got the structure to fill. And interestingly, I began finding many of the answers within both our traditional practices, our herbal practices. And the more I applied them, my goodness, an awakening began occurring, both in myself and the folks that I attend to. My wife is a nutritionist, and the more we move to the native, local option for foods and away from the conventional, quote unquote, modern processed foods, the better our clients. The more they heal, the better their health, evolved into. It just made sense that, my goodness, we've been living in a space that hasn't been in our best interest, nutritionally, medically, historically also. Let me debate for a little moment.
Yes.
Last Sunday, I attended a program here in Lagos called the King Kosoko Memorial Lecture. My goodness. We had 4 presenters, one from Unilag, one from Latut, another was Professor Aduke Gomez, and another gentleman. And they gave the history of Lagos before 1852. 1852 was with the watershed moment when the British bombarded and took over Lagos. In fact, it began December 26, 1851. So the history prior to 1852 was what was taught. We have such a rich history that if we but write it ourselves, it differs from the Mungo Park and David Livingstone and the other characters that were taught in our British skewed, sorry to use the word propaganda.
Of course, it's propaganda. It is. Let's call it what it is.
So there's an absolute need in all spheres of life for us to just unlearn what we've been taught and relearn our true history, our true culture, our true healing practices, not just medicine. No, our true healing practices, and definitely our true nutrition. And that's where our wellness, our holistic wellness, re-anchors us.
So basically, based on what you just said now, so what was that awakening moment that actually say, you know what, we need to get away from this allopathic, and basically you went to school, you did everything, you basically learned the Western convergiousness is what I'll call it. So what made you think, you know what, something needs to change?
Was there a particular moment? There was a series of events which go back to recalling things my grandmother and my great-grandmother would do. And I would observe them do it as a little child when we would visit them in the village. I think maybe one of the moments was in the emergency room in at Johns Hopkins. We were doing emergency medicine, and we had to use this black. Somebody came in with an overdose. It's a suicide attempt, and we had to use this black powder to resuscitate them. I saw this black thing. I said to myself, "My goodness, looks like what grandma and great grandma used to give us when we were little children before we'd go out to go visit friends all over the place." It was activated charcoal.
Wow.
Activated charcoal. So these old folks knew. That was an awakening moment. Another episode occurred in pharmacy school. We had two Indian professors, Telang and Kapadia, and they were doing research on Nigerian bitter leaf.
Wow.
And they showed me the aliquot, the aqueous aliquot, the water extract of bitter leaf. They said lowers blood sugar through a pathway that differs from insulin. The oil extract of bitter leaf has fertility benefits. I think that's another seeded waking moment. That, my goodness, we have all this. Meeting Reverend Father Adodo, who's with Pax Herbals, and working with them when I'd visit home from the US and seeing the extensive knowledge on African herbs. Then I took 10 of the products to the US with me, submitted all 10 to the FDA for analysis. Not only did the FDA analyze them, they gave us what they call harmonizing tariff index numbers, which means all 10 products could be exported.
Wow.
Our lawyers made me understand that the US has one of the world's greatest databases of natural items. And anytime there's a calamity in your country, Ebola, whatever you want to call it, and they send 50 scientists to your country, only about 5 may work in the labo. Therefore, the 5 are into the bush, picking up every single thing they can pick up that moves, that breathes, that flows with the wind, and adding it to their compendium.
Wow.
So they know we have a fantastically rich armamentarium of healing practices and knowledge and herbs. I guess, yeah, some of the moments that just had one thinking, oh, I think one major one was at Hopkins. We had a professor from a white gentleman, tall guy, Dr. William Greenow, who had worked in South America, I think it was Brazil, had worked in West Africa, Senegal, and the Philippines. And this guy asked me on ward rounds, so how do you treat asthma in Nigeria? I said, well, you go to the chemist, go to the pharmacy. And he'd tell me over and over, there is knowledge in those ancient cultures. Go back and get it. This is a white gentleman at Johns Hopkins. I tell him about a senior attendant. So there were sprinkles of all these moments where things occurred that got you thinking, my goodness, there's knowledge in my ancient culture that we've disregarded, disrespected, abandoned. I think God was just setting me up to come back home and delve into a natural, holistic, and a renaissance in respect for our traditional practices and healing knowledge.
So basically, you flipped the switch based on all the can I call it miseducation that you got in the US? And then you came back home and you looked at basically our indigenous knowledge systems, which is what I call it, and you're thinking, whoa, this is the way to go. So what, yeah. So when did you start? When did you set up your wellness center? How did the process start?
As we moved back home with my wife and the children, we initially, I worked for one of the new HMOs. After 2 years, I began practicing with some of my colleagues, and I saw some of the resistance to these ideas amongst my colleagues. And it just hit me that if I want to move further with these ideas or this approach, I had to create a whole new platform, a whole new practice.
Wow.
My wife and I decided, you know what? Let's bite the bullet. Let's proceed. And in 2018, we opened up Carrib Health, which includes what we call the Nutrition Hospital and Carrib Wellness Centre. So that was about about 6-7 years ago.
Interesting. Okay, let's deep dive into. We talk. People are thinking, what is holistic? What is allopathic? Because people don't know the difference. Let's break it down. What is holistic medicine? What is allopathic medicine?
All right, let me start with the latter. Allopathic medicine is a style of medicine that primarily uses synthetic petrochemicals as the healing tools. It's barely 150, maximum, let's say 170 years old. It began in the US, heavily influenced by the Rockefellers and the Carnegies.
Yeah.
And in doing so, they more or less took over medical education.
Yeah.
And built this system supporting medical schools, funding the curriculum, creating and funding the American Medical Association. So today, what we call medicine or modern medicine is really the allopathic medicine. Some people use the word traditional medicine. I correct them instantly. Don't call allopathic medicine traditional medicine. It's not. Now, it's a medical system that is built on the body is divided into all these systems: the heart, the kidney, the liver. It's a symptom approach. You have headache, take a medication. A pill for every ill. You have abdominal pain, gallbladder looks like it with sludge. Let's check out the gallbladder. You have a tumor. It's in the colon. Let's check out the colon, or the part of the colon that's affected. Whereas holistic, and I don't say medicine, it's holistic healing practices.
I love that.
Are totally global. Every ancient culture has its own holistic healing practices. The Indians have the Ijewere and beyond. The Chinese have the Chinese traditional practices and beyond. Even the Aborigines in Australia have their own also. Are we in Africa? My goodness, we're probably the oldest traditional healing practice that goes back.
We are the oldest.
Thank you. That goes back to even before ancient Egypt. There's several references, even old medical books that refer to the era of the pharaohs, the era of Imhotep as one of the oldest, strongest, most versatile. In fact, the word physician is a very limiting word.
It is.
Healing genius. But he was multitasked. He had several skills beyond just the quote-unquote medical component. So the holistic healing practice, from the African perspective, sees the body and the earth as one. They're in unity. Whatever affects the earth affects us. And so there's a responsibility that for us to heal or to maintain our wellness, we must also maintain the wellness of the earth. It's a clear understanding that God in his creation designed perfect systems, both in his children, man, and in the earth around us. And if you're clear with this, you then come to that ailment shows up when we stray out of what God has created, when we stray away from nature. That's where our diseases begin to show up. And if it stays long enough, we exit prematurely. So the holistic approach is a totality of understanding that man and earth are one in unison. God created perfection. And if we align with what he has designed, we find we not only maintain our wellness, if ailment shows up, the answer is around us abundantly. Abundantly. That's the holistic picture.
Okay, my brother, when I'm looking at globally today, there's so much disease. You talked about diseases. What is the cause of the diseases that we see today? You've touched on it, but you look at the food we eat. You go to, I'm in the UK, you go to supermarkets. I struggle to buy anything because when I see food that's been on the shelf for 2 to 3 days, and sometimes they're there for like a week, 2 weeks, 3 months. Obviously, like you said, that's synthetic food. Diseases come. Yes, sir.
You're being very kind. I don't call those things food. They are not food. Food is what the original manufacturer of the human body spent 5 days putting ahead of us before he downloaded us physically.
Absolutely.
Food is what comes out of Mother Nature. What the stuff we process in the factories The stuff we pour chemicals into in the farms and all kinds of preservatives and flavorings and herbicides, pesticides, and now GMOs. Please, that's not food. Those are man-made concoctions. And all of those things are deleterious to us. Some rapidly, many of them slowly, insidiously poisoning and destroying our systems within. So when you look at disease, in fact, I'll share with you a perspective on disease that was an awakening for me almost 25 years ago.
Okay.
No, 19 years ago, this lady in the US, in Florida, she was a holistic practitioner. And she said, disease is simply the body speaking to us. That what we have been doing for the last 5, 10, 15, 20 years is off alignment with our health and wellness.
Wow.
The disease is simply the body asking us to please pause, stop, reconsider what we've been doing to ourselves and get back on track. And if you do, the disease disappears. The disease, all ailments are reversible if we get back on track, the track that God created for us.
Wow.
Hence, we impart to our clients, there's 5 pillars to wellness. If you deviate spiritually, your mindset, how you program the mind, nutritionally, number 3. Number 4 is our lifestyle. I'll give an example of lifestyle. Today, we seem to treasure or extol those who don't get enough sleep. Well, I slept 4 hours at night. We seem to extol certain behaviors, like use of all these chemicals around us. We're asking for early exit and sickness. Our sisters who pour all kinds of chemicals on their face, on their skin, calling it beauty. All the chemicals are toxic, hormone disruptors. So our lifestyle plays a huge role in our disease, in our bringing in disease on ourselves. And then lastly, the environment. So we call them the 5 pillars of wellness: spirituality, mindset, nutrition, lifestyle, and environment. And if we get those 5 things right, wellness is abundance. God's gift of wellness is abundant for us, his children.
Wow. You know what? You talked about the pushback in Nigeria. So, and you are basically, as you're talking to me, you're inspiring me, because I've always felt that if you're going to do anything, you have to start from the bottom up, because you cannot go into a system that's already been compromised and expect it to change. So how did you start that journey in Nigeria with the pushback? Because don't forget, like I said initially, the miseducated Africans were trying to push you back, thinking, what do you know? You came from the outside, and I've seen this all the time. How did you start this journey? Because I'm encouraged by what you say.
The moment we realized, while working with some of our colleagues, that they were part of the obstacle to us expressing this perspective, this holistic wellness perspective, we knew we had to start our independent practice from scratch. Literally build from scratch. Yeah. Assemble a clinic, assemble staff, train the staff in this mindset, design our vision, mission, our training protocols, connect with organic farmers. That was a huge component. You cannot heal with glyphosate-laden food. You have to get God's design, clean, chemical-free food. So we had a network of organic farmers. I'm very active. I'm very active with organic farmers here in Lagos and beyond. We developed a market every Saturday here in Ikoyi, Lagos, for the organic farmers from around the southwest to come in and display and sell their products.
I got to visit that. I'm coming.
Please do. So that's another major anchor to starting this journey. Putting the building block. Networking with the farmers, organizing them, helping them to organize, and even helping to train some of the younger ones who were interested. So, number 1, physically creating a location, training your manpower, doctors, nurses, all other staff we work with, connecting with our source of organic foods, the organic farmers, training our kitchen staff into how to prepare food without adding Maggi cube, without adding all this chemical salt, all this sodium chloride chemical salt, and educating them constantly to help us build that solid foundation. It's been, when I look back now, I'm grateful. I'm grateful that we took the time to do all those things. It has allowed us to really have a good, strong foothold and a network, just phenomenal network of suppliers, organic suppliers, colleagues who now refer clients to us who are less of a pushback, less of a threat. In the past, I've been called names.
Yeah,
Some of my colleagues called me things like,
I can imagine.
They called me names ranging from traitor to quack to what do you call that one? Native doctor, roots and fruits doctor. But today, many of them have silenced and actually referring clients to us. Because clients are now telling them, I don't want your drugs. I want the natural way. I want the nutritional way.
Absolutely brilliant. I'm inspired speaking to you. I'm actually inspired speaking to you, man, because it basically speaks to what we're trying to do as well. Because, like I said initially, I was speaking to you, we're trying to basically get away from this European mindset of thinking.
Yes, we have to.
Because we Africans have the solutions within us. Like I said, it's the indigenous knowledge system. But when you move away from yourself and just look at the Caucasians and how they decide everything. They had to destroy to impose their way of thinking on the rest of the world. And when we Africans go back to who we are, the solutions are within us.
Absolutely.
And you're basically showing us the way with the holistic medicine. And that's I'm inspired by what you're saying to me. I'm excited. So the question is, the next question will be, a lot of people are watching this today because this platform is educational, because I'm going to be putting this out there. Tell our people, holistic medicine, African indigenous roots, is the way forward. Speak to our people. Just let people know exactly what they need to do.
All right. We have a tremendous thousands of years, even tens of thousands of healing ourselves, caring for ourselves, experimenting with our environment, understanding how nature works. And we developed healing systems in many of our ethnic areas, from South Africa, the Undebele in Zimbabwe, the Zulus in South Africa, our colleagues in Kenya, Tanzania, and to us here in West Africa. We have ancient practices. Some of you may have heard of Ugandans, Tanzanians who were doing C-sections long before the Europeans came along. We may have heard of our East Africans doing brain surgery, using herbs as anesthesia, using herbs as antiseptics. We have heard about ancient practices where the venom heads of scorpions and snakes are somehow distilled to get potions that are given to the farmers and the hunters. So if they get bitten, they are immune. Some of us may be aware that if you have a cold or malaria headache, our grandparents would boil water in a clay pot, put the herbs into it, cover up with a big cover cloth or drape. We sit down in our shorts and inhale it. Those aromatic herbs go from our lungs into the bloodstream immediately and go to work. One of the fastest ways of healing the body is through aromatic therapy. Our ancestors knew this, and they practiced it, and I witnessed it. I was subject to it, and I practice it today in my practice. Folks, we have to wake up. We had tremendous knowledge. The early missionaries who came, the early Portuguese who came, when they look at what they wrote about our ancestors, they were in awe as to what they saw. A level of organization. Even our community organizations, the streets, the roads, our homes, a level of governmental structure, a level of discipline, cleanliness, absence of crime, a level of resolving conflicts amongst ourselves.
Yes, we are organized. Very.
I mean, some of the writings are available online that when you read what these early missionaries wrote, they were envious of what we had. We were way ahead of Europe. If you're aware of our ancestors and what they did, traveling to South America, documented by Ivan van Sertima, you'd be blown off the earth. My ancestors actually were building boats enough to carry elephants and other creatures across the Atlantic. They knew how the Atlantic trade winds and how to follow the winds to South America at the right time and come back to Africa without getting lost in the oceans. Come on. We have to wake up. Things have been hidden from us. I won't even touch on the Jesus Christ issue and Mary and who they really are.
Do not start me up on that one, my brother, man.
I mean, guys, ladies and gentlemen on this platform, I'm what you call your typical, here they call me Ijewere, trained by the Western educational system. Primary school, secondary school, I'm Catholic, went to the US, trained in top schools in the US. And I find our solutions are not there.
Wow.
They're amongst what our ancestors had been doing and taught us. We're a blessed people. We are a blessed people. And the Europeans know this. The Westerners know this. So they had to rejig our mindset and brainwash us to think we're inferior. Nobody can figure out how the pyramids were built. The massive stone heads in parts of South America from Belize to Mexico, they can figure out how this massive tonnage of stone heads were carved. But they are clear who did it. We did it. Yeah. Our ancestors did. So wake up to your glory. Wake up to our glory, to what we know. And I love what a white man taught me once that stuck in my head. He said, do you know that you all carry in your genes the memory of your ancestors?
Absolutely. Brilliant.
And if you only believe it and take time to meditate, you'll be amazed at the knowledge that you would access.
Yeah.
And the download you will get at strange hours of the night and the day.
Absolutely. Brilliant.
Brothers and sisters, I'm a living witness.
Yeah.
I talk to my great-grandmother. I talk to my grandmother. And often I tell them what our problems are. And too many times I wake up in the morning and the download just occurs. Look, and I have the solution. I know what's my next step of action. Our ancestors are waiting for us to connect with them. They have the solution to our morass today.
I love what you just said there, but I can see the depth of how you're saying that, how I love it. Before we go, obviously I met you through Dr. Segun, and this is basically the Achilles heels in Africa today, GMOs. I would love you to talk about that. And what's the kind of pushback that we get in Nigeria? How do we push these GMOs out of it? Because basically our system's already compromised, it's already there. So how do we make people awake? How do we let people know to push back from this? Because like I said, all these things are causing diseases, which you're working to help eradicate. How do we push back on that?
I'll give you about 4 to 5 angles of pushback. Okay. Number one, if you want to be successful as an accountant, you go to one who's already successful to train you in the success. The Bible says, before you come and take out the log in my eye, before you take out the splinter in my eye, take out the log in your eye. GMOs are primarily from the US, and we know the agencies that are pushing GMOs.
Yeah. The Monsantos, the Bill Gates.
Yeah. Yes. When you look at the data from the US, the data on people's health, it's appalling. That's some of the worst data in the world. Diseases are skyrocketing in the US. High blood pressure, diabetes, cancer, autoimmune disorders, autism. In spite of all their advancement in technology, CT scans, MRIs, PET scans, and you name it, and all their medical schools, and their drugs. They've missed the boat. The cause is starting with what we eat, our nutrition. Today, they have no choice. The bulk of what they eat is GMO. So if you want to get all their diseases, go ahead and eat their GMOs. But Mr. Bill Gates and his colleagues, go back home. Go and solve the disease problems in your country. Then come back and tell us how to eat. Number two, I have colleagues, older colleagues in their 80s and 90s, some have passed away, who tell us that when they were in school, 50, 60, 70 years ago, these ailments were absent amongst us.
Yeah, I agree.
These ailments were written as diseases of Western affluence.
Yeah.
They couldn't find cases of diabetes in Africa.
Yeah.
Cancer was missing. You sweat to find a case of high blood pressure. Autopsies were done in studies and couldn't find heart disease. They thumped their chest when they were in school that these elements were absent amongst African and other so-called ancient cultures. Now we have the blind leading us into their disease milieu. We're following them and then we're getting their ailments. These were not amongst us. We have no business eating what they eat, GMOs inclusive, farming how they farm, herbicides, pesticides, GMOs. They've had to use a lot of deceit and fear-mongering to get us into their morass. They're stuck in their space. But they give us this. Oh my gosh. Anyway. Number 3, we must trust that God takes care of all his children. He has given to each of us our Garden of Eden. Everything we need is in our Garden of Eden. We must stop looking over the fence at their so-called garden, what's left of their garden. Attend to our own garden. It's all within us.
Yes.
It's all within us. Number 4, we took our own feet and escaped the Garden of Eden. And we jumped into the factory of, I call them the factory of Indomie, or the factory of Maggie Cube. You want health, you want healing, you want what God gave us, come back to your own Garden of Eden. It's not by chance that God created us before he did the other races. We're the oldest people on earth. The early Europeans documented our prowess, from metallurgy to shipbuilding to understanding the galaxies. Our brothers and sisters in Mali, in Burkina Faso, the Dogons, we're advanced in cosmology. Our ancient brothers from Akabulan, ancient Egypt, understood mathematics. The ancient Greeks wrote extensively of the knowledge that came from Africa. Even Columbus in his diaries wrote that the Native Americans told him that the blacks have been coming across the waters to trade with them for decades. We have no business following the European. None. We have it all already. We don't have no business touching GMOs. The land, our soil, is so fertile. Chinese companies come and dig it and load it on ships and carry it away. We have such fertile. We're not even farming up to 1% of the land that God has given us.
No, we're not.
Then we succumb to the lies of we must get GMOs so that our population doesn't starve, so that we have abundance and yield. What a lie. Yield my foot. And we believe that nonsense. You plant it this year, gives you 20 bushels. You cannot plant it next year. Whereas my original seed, I planted this year, gives me 10 bushels. From that bushel, I keep 1 bushel, plant it again, gives me another 10.
That's what we're supposed to be doing.
Another 10. Another 10. Which one is the yield? Who gives you the abundant yield?
You see, the mindset, the distortion is crazy. It's crazy. Yeah, go on.
My people, please, abandon GMO. Yes, they brainwash some of our scientists to believe in GMO is the way forward. It's not. Hasn't solved their health problem, hasn't solved the agricultural problem. It will not solve ours. Please tell Mr. Gates and his friends to go and clear the log in their eyes and leave us with our splinter. We can take care of ourselves. We don't need them. Absolute no to GMO. Absolute yes to nature, God's creation, and the abundance he has given us in our own Garden of Eden. Mr. Dosumu, I mean, this I appreciate the...
I can see the passion. I can see the passion in how you're talking to me. I can see it. Okay, just to round this up, your wellness clinic. Please tell people more about it, how they can get to you, how they can, because I'm going to be pushing this, my brother. I'm going to be pushing this for you because I've been looking for a solution like this. And the moment I came across you, in what we do, we always connect with the right people. I always believe that. It's no coincidence that you meet the right people when you're honest and straightforward in terms of where you're going and what you want to do. So me meeting you is no coincidence. So my brother, holistic healing, wellness, tell people, how can they contact you? Where, tell us more about your setup.
You can reach us on the platforms, including Instagram, Dr. Dr. Patrick Ijewere, Dr. Patrick. Ijewere is spelled Ijewere. We're also on our corporate name, which is Carib Health, Carib, Carib Health NG. My wife is Caribbean, hence Carib Health.
Wow, wow, I like that.
We are pioneers in the space of holistic wellness. We teach, we practice, we live by it, that the body is designed by God in perfection. It's designed to thrive. The closer you stay to nature, we teach. In fact, I'm going to stand up briefly and just give a brief scan of our center here. I'm sitting out here in the walkway. That's the building behind me.
Yeah.
This is our middle garden where we plant quite a bit. You can see there's a
few banana leaves there. Yeah.
Thank you. On the far, you can see there's cocoa yam.
Yeah, I can see that.
In fact, I'm going to go a little closer to and see where we've planted yams in bags and how the bags have really taken off on this water tank stanchion. Right here, all these sacks you see contain yam that have grown.
Wow.
You can see all the way up the leaves climbing up the water tower.
Wow.
So hopefully we'll be harvesting in another 2 to 3 months. I'm going to just walk a little bit to the back. We have programs for seniors also. This is all right. Here you go. This is these small things that we do.
Yeah, yeah.
We'll go further. I'm walking backwards so you can see.
Yeah. Thank you.
So we have healing treatments outside here. Perfect. With infusions. We teach people about everything from how to use the golden premium plant to heal.
Wow.
We have a steam sauna, like my grandma used to steam us in clay pots and African herbs.
Wow.
And we're right here on the Lagos Lagoon.
Perfect setting. I love it. I love it. Yeah. When I'm in Lagos, I'm coming to see you. It's definitely coming to see you, man. Definitely. Brilliant. My brother, we appreciate you. I love exactly what you've told us. This is the kind of content that our people need to hear, because for somebody who's lived in the US, spent 30 years there, went through their education process, and for you to actually flip that around and go back to our own indigenous healing systems, it's amazing. It's a story that needs to be shared. So we really appreciate you with the time. Thank you very much for coming on.
Thank you for the work you do.
Final words from you, sir. Anything else you want to say to people?
Come back to nature. If you want true healing and wellness, come back to nature. The further you stray away from Mother Nature, the sicker we are, the sooner we exit. Come back to nature in all its ramifications. God gave us perfection. He desires for us to be healthy. Come back to nature. That's simple.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thanks for coming on. I appreciate you. Take care, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Duke.